They didn't go all the way up. So.
Okay, it's 5:30. We will get our meeting started on time, and it is Thursday, October 7th, 2021, and it is 5:30. We are in the boardroom on Legacy Campus. Thank you all for coming. And we will have our roll call to begin with.
Larry Jepson, board member.
Randall Bagley, board member.
Steve Norton, superintendent.
Roger Pulsford, board member.
Terry Rhodes, board member.
Kathy Christiansen, board member.
Jeff Nielsen, board member.
Jared Black, business administrator.
And Chris Corcoran, board member, is excused this evening. We will now have the pledge and mission statement led by Larry Jepson. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission is to educate students for success in a changing world.
That number 2 needs to be moved to the end. He's got caught in traffic.
Okay, thank you, Larry. And seeing no public input, we will move on to our reports agenda. And we have a few changes in just the order of the agenda. We will hear the Green Canyon School Land Trust Amendment first, and then move on back up to the top of this one. And the number 2 vaping litigation report will be at the end. So first we'll have Green Canyon School Land Trust Amendment presented by Principal Dave Swenson.
You'll probably need to turn that on, Dave.
Check. Thank you. Thanks for letting me go first. Just for your information, Jim Crosby went in for surgery today. He had an appendicitis attack about 4:30 this morning, and in fact, he's just kind of coming out of surgery right now. So, so we have a volleyball game out at Bear River starting in about 25 minutes. So I'm going to head out there right after. So thanks for putting me. And then we have soccer going on at Skyview. So, but everything went well with Jim, and he should be recovering. So anyway, we'll try not to work him so hard. So one of the we had about after the audit, we had about $55,000 carryover from our trust land plan due to sending we had that written in the year before to send a lot of our teachers to a Solution Tree conference that ended up getting canceled in Salt Lake. And so with that carryover, at the time we wrote the plan, we weren't sure how much carryover we were going to have. So with that carryover, we made an amendment to the trust land plan that was voted on September 13 and was approved by 13 of our council members. 4 of them were not present at the time. With that $55,000, I think you got a copy of this, I think. And so one of the things that we were asking for $15,000 for some extra textbooks, classroom sets in our core classes, AP classes, and with our SPED and ELL programs too, that we'll be using those. A lot of times they might be teachers' editions or just one classroom set that to keep updated on those core classes and the other classes. We also have a couple extra of students that need a little bit more of attention behavior-wise, and so we're asking for we have them already there at the school, so we're gonna use $12,500 for 2 part-time special aid aides who will be helping with some behavior issues as well as academic failure. We also had a bill. We weren't anticipating the turnkey bill to come in that we were going to be paying that. And so we've already paid that for about $5,900, which is a software to support our teachers, especially in the language arts, or all teachers with some of their writing skills, with also, I think, plagiarism too, and things like that. So we're going to ask for a claim in favor for that, but it's used by all teachers. And then we've gotten a lot of mileage out of our, especially with Canvas, with working with Mastery Connect, and also this past year, the summertime work with our teachers who meet during the summer in departments. That has gone a long way in helping them get ready for their curriculum, especially with Mastery Connect, as we've kind of been implementing that this following year. And so we're that will be paying teachers in the summer for PLC work. So that's what we'd like to use that extra $55,000 that we have for this coming year.
Excellent. Anyone have questions?
Looks good.
All right.
Who's going to win the volleyball game?
We're going to win the volleyball game.
Okay,
And we're going to win the soccer game. And tomorrow night, the Skyview game, we're going to the fifth time's a charm. I can feel it in the air. In fact, I was telling Tim, there's a special play that I drew up just for tomorrow, and they're going to run it. So it's going to be the game changer. We hope.
Slow down.
Greg doesn't run it right. I don't put holding play or a holding call or
Did the principal sneak?
Pardon me.
Is it the principal sneak? Is that what the
This
play
one's
is?
called the Dave Special.
Okay.
So that's what they call it. So
I just want to
it'll
see
be
the hand sign for it.
what's that?
I want to see the hand sign for it.
Anyway, touchdown. So anyway, that's the hand sign.
This would be easier.
Well, it may end up being like that. at the end. So anyway, that's what he does back. If he doesn't run it right. But anyway.
Thank you for coming.
Slow down in Beaver Dam, buddy.
All right, we will now have Kirk McRae present the LEA specific licenses and endorsements review.
Well, with that endorsement, I think I will be at that game tomorrow, even if it is raining, which it probably will be. I am coming to you tonight with a request for approval for LEA-specific licenses. And I think you have a spreadsheet, and if yours is like mine and it's really small, I apologize. We have 55 requests that we're making tonight, and that compares to 99 last year. So just know that we're heading the right direction. But as a reminder, 2 years ago, the state of Utah changed its teacher licensure. And now there are 3 types of licenses. There is a professional license, an associate license, and an LEA-specific license. Professional is for people that follow a traditional course of study. An associate is people that follow a alternate path. And LEA-specific is more of a temporary licensure that the state used to cover with letters of authorization that we used to get in equal number. Now, the state, under the new licensing requirements, has given authority to local school boards to approve these LEA-specific licenses for up to 3 years. And this can be for a variety of reasons. If you'll see our list here, the vast majority are secondary teachers who are teaching a subject area outside of their endorsement area. And so this would allow them to teach in that endorsement area while they work towards getting that endorsement, or their schedule changes in the future. Those are both possibilities. All of these candidates have had a background check done, they've had an ethics review, and they've been recommended by their various school locations as candidates that were the best candidate for the vacancies that were created from 1 year to this year. So we are asking for the board to review and ultimately give approval, we would take this back to the board on the consent agenda for the next meeting. But the state requires us to get these input into the state software system, Cactus is what it's called, prior to October 15th. So I'd like to get tentative approval tonight and then formal approval 2 weeks from now. And like I said, this is similar. We did this twice last year. This is the same process, but we do need to get board approval before we could move forward with these licenses.
Anyone have questions?
I just have a question. Is this the form that you're going to send in?
Yes, and the state is very specific on the format of the spreadsheet. And I know there's one typo at the very top. Is that?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I found one. I found another one.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I think on number 11, is it Anna? Is it supposed to be Anna instead of Amma?
if I can read that.
On 11?
Yes.
Number 11.
Oh, yep.
A-N-N.
I'm not quite sure. That could be her name, but I will follow up on that. I don't know. And today, I don't try to second guess too many names.
Yeah.
When I do,
Yeah.
I get surprised. But I will follow up on that.
Okay, I just wondered.
At the bottom, it says Michaela Cutler is working on endorsement, but there's no endorsement listed.
Yeah, and we input that into the Cactus system, but for this spreadsheet, they don't need the specific endorsement, and it could be actually more than one endorsement. And where Michaela teaches at Cache High, those teachers generally have 3 or 4 subject areas that they cover. So that is correct. It doesn't show the endorsement, and I know that that's input, but I don't have that here with me.
Do the principals usually put in these requests, or do the teachers themselves?
It's the principals ultimately that screen the candidates, and a lot of these teachers are teachers that have been around for quite a while and have a license and endorsement, but they might be teaching this year in a different endorsement area. So we're not immune to the labor shortage that other employers are facing. I would say that we generally do better than most other school districts, but there are times when we do not have a deep pool of candidates, and sometimes the best candidate is someone who really wants to become a teacher and is willing to follow the process to get that license, and this gives them time to work towards that. These LEA licenses are temporary, at will, indefinitely. So until they get an associate license or a professional license, they don't work towards career educator status or tenure. So we have time to review them like we do with any other teacher, but actually even more time if they don't progress to that next step of licensure.
Okay. Anyone have another question? All right. And thank you, Kirk,
Thank you.
for bringing
Thank
this
you.
to
I'll
us.
put that on the consent agenda for the
Okay.
next meeting.
So
Thank
do we
you.
need to make a tentative approval? Or
Well, I'm assuming since no one is speaking out against it, that we're
Yeah,
going to move it.
I don't think that's necessary, Roger, but we definitely want formal approval for the next one. But yeah, if there's no concerns or questions, then I think that's adequate for now.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Kirk. Moving on to the current enrollment and future enrollment growth, presented by Gary Thomas, Mike Lichty, and Tim Smith.
So you should have the attachments in board docs for secondary one, and then one for elementary. I'll do the secondary. But before I do that, I'll give you an update on the state golf tournament being played up at Birch Creek. Crimson Cliffs comes out of St. George, and they're the stacked team in the state for golf. Well, they ended up tying with Ridgeline for the final today. So they played a playoff hole, 18, their top 4 players from each team played 18 altogether, hole number 18, and Ridgeline won it.
Yay.
And Ridgeline had the top player. He was
Skinner.
5 or 6 under. Yeah.
Wow.
He was a medalist for
That
the
like
state.
a shootout in soccer
Yeah.
when they have to shoot one
Yeah.
ball at
They
the,
take everybody's score on that last playoff hole, but Doug just got a hold of me because I was following it. I saw it on the web, and he got back with me. And so Crimson Cliff took third, and Skyview and Green Canyon tied for third. Crimson took second.
Great.
Yeah,
Wow.
they tied for third.
As long as we're talking about watching sports, I'll wait till it's the president's report.
Okay.
I'm out of line in the agenda, so we'll carry on with the secondary schools capacity.
Yep. Okay, so the information that Gary and I will share with you tonight is just giving you some preliminary information of what our schools look like today, because we were able to get the October 1 count report. That's the formal report that goes in for funding, and it's the bottom line truth. This is what we look like on October 1. You know, nobody can, get around.
No fudging.
No fudging. And the last couple of weeks, Gary and I and Tim have been around to the schools, and we've counted classrooms in every school to verify, what can we count as a classroom in every school. And some classrooms are being used for something else today because they've had room, but we still counted that as a classroom. Okay? So when you see this report, it counts every teachable classroom that we have in our schools. So for secondary, you can see the percent capacity. That's what we're really looking at, how close we are. We're filling up in our secondary schools. Our real crowded one is Spring Creek at 113%. And the reason why they can handle that is because we have 4 portables there, 2 doubles. And they're able to handle that. But what's becoming the problem at Spring Creek is the actual capacity building, what's the word I'm looking for? The core of the building is just, when kids are out and about, they're just packed shoulder to shoulder in there. So we can put that many kids there, but boy, it is a packed place when it happens. But if you take a look at those numbers, probably nothing there really surprises me. At Cache High, you see the 67%. That may be a little misleading. We purposely keep the class sizes low down there at Cache High, for what we're trying to do. But it can handle a lot more kids. But we've purposely not done that. So just because it says 67%, we shouldn't say, oh, let's get a lot more kids down there. That would take away what we're trying to accomplish down there at Cache High. And very nice facility for Cache High down there. But do you have any questions at all about what the secondary capacities look like right now?
I do, because I was at the North Cache School Community Council meeting earlier this month, and this topic came up, and the parents were asking John Anderson, the principal, what the capacity was there, and how many students they have, and because the parents are concerned about the number of students in that school, and they and Cindy Parkinson, the vice principal there, said that they had rearranged things this year and were using every possible classroom they could be using. Was that what you saw there?
When Tim and I were up there, we were just up there yesterday and went through it, and it's not that bleak. I mean, when you actually look at there's several classrooms that are being used half-time, and I'll tell you, in the past, we've had a lot more students than that at North Cache with the same building, with nothing changing. And so we don't feel that they're that crowded. Yeah, are they getting close? What are they, 93% there? Yeah, that's filling up, but they're not sitting on top of each other either.
Okay.
And their hallways are a little bit bigger and wider than a Spring Creek. They're, very similar to a South Cache, and it makes it feel a little bit better there. But yeah. Yeah.
Is there a chance that you would ever change the boundaries so some of the Spring Creek students would go to South Cache, or is that not?
Well, our plan is after we give you these kind of numbers today, then we're going to take a little bit of time and prepare a report to give to the board and maybe give you some suggestions and ideas what we should consider in the future for building needs or growth needs in our district. But this is our report tonight, just to give you the basic what we look like right now. Because Gary's going to paint you a different picture here in a couple of minutes, and we're getting new mandates coming down from the state that could affect elementary schools a lot, and there's only certain things you can do to manage that. So
Will the middle schools always have to have that many students? I mean, for me, that just seems like a huge amount of middle school kids in one building.
North Cache and South Cache were just built that big, and we're always going to have them that big. Now, if there'll be some options we're going to present to you that will maybe lower the sizes in North Cache and South Cache, but it just depends what the option is what the board looks at when we share that with you. Some things.
It's hard to justify two big buildings and not using them to capacity.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of issues. But we'll get back with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what secondary looks like today. So Gary, you can share your part.
I think you have the elementary one up there also. You can pull that one up. We have numerous schools that are over 100% capacity. And just like Mike said, the reason they can do that at Spring Creek is they have 4 portables. If you look at these elementaries, we have anywhere from 1 to 6 portables behind some of these schools. I've highlighted Birch Creek and Providence, though, in red. Neither of those schools have portables right now, and they are both over 100%. Birch Creek had to turn down the option this year for an all-day kindergarten because they just didn't have the room. They qualified for it, but we just didn't have the classroom there. Providence Elementary is over the 100%. They're at 106.8%. There is literally
Nowhere to put it.
no geographical space for it. We have just a sliver of grass for those, 765 kids to play on, and there really no parking. We park on the street as teachers and staff members. So that's why those two are just in red. But you can see we have a number of schools that are over their capacity by quite a ways. What Mike alluded to was, let me give you just an initial. In the elementary, kindergarten